This is Jilliana Ranicar-Breese, and this is part 2 of my interview with Ginelle Nicolas in Palma. So, Ginelle, tell me about New York, your life in New York, and also, most important, your heritage.
Okay. So I was born and raised in Brooklyn by Caribbean parents. They're from Haiti and
Korean, did you say?
Caribbean.
Oh, Caribbean.
I say Caribbean.
Oh, okay,
Potato,
okay,
potato.
okay. From Haiti. From
Yes,
Haiti,
from
okay.
Haiti. And I honestly, that is the best upbringing I could possibly imagine.
Were you in a community?
Um,
A Haitian community?
Not really, but I think Brooklyn in that time in the 80s, there were a lot of immigrants, everywhere, and definitely a lot of Caribbean families. So I knew other Haitian families as well, Jamaican families, Trinidadian.
From the Caribbean.
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of immigrants just go.
Were you speaking French as well?
I was not. In my house, my parents speak English, Creole, and they speak French. But they never forced us to speak. So there's a lot of French that I understand, but to give it back to you, it's going to sound very crude. And so I never.
Like a patois.
Well, no, Creole is different than French. It has, and in fact, I think that's why Catalan sort of sticks, because it has a lot of similar rhythm in the way that they talk, and Catalan can be a mix of French, Spanish, and Italian, and Creole has a lot of some Spanish words, but with a different accent. So I have a feeling that's why I feel like I connect to Catalan. But my mother tried to teach me French, and I was really enthusiastic about it, but she was not the most patient teacher. So I think I finally said, forget it, I will never speak your language. And, who does that punish? Only me. But, I understand a great deal of French. But
Were you part of a choir? A member of a choir?
I wasn't.
No?
I really wasn't.
So you weren't singing when you were growing up?
I was singing for myself. You couldn't shut me up. And my favorite chore as a child was to vacuum, because then no one would tell me to shut up. I would sing and vacuum and get it in. I would sing doing the dishes. You couldn't stop me.
You were always singing?
Yeah.
What were you singing?
I was singing, of course, Whitney Houston. I think anybody who grew up at that time was copying anything that she was doing.
She was your idol?
I can't say she was my idol, but you know what? Yes, she was. I thought that being Whitney Houston was a job, I'll just grow up and be Whitney. That's kind of how I thought about it. There's janitor, there's a engineer, there's a Whitney Houston, So I really, I think the thing about Whitney Houston is there's a sincerity and a sort of surrender in the way that she sings, yes, she's in full control of what she gives, but there's that line, I think, of surrendering to the music that is really powerful. After that, there was a lot of R&B music, like a lot of really Black gospel influenced R&B music. So I really loved, I always say Whitney Houston and Stephanie Mills taught me how to sing, because I copied everything that I could get my hands on that Stephanie Mills sang. And who else? Vespa Williams, and Regina Bell, Anita Baker. Those were my influences, and those were the people I copied until Mariah Carey came out. And I remember the first time I heard Vision of Love, and my reaction was, that's not Whitney Houston, but it was like delicious to hear, you know what I mean? But my first reaction to Mariah Carey was, hey, is that Whitney Houston? No, that's not Whitney Houston. So those were my influences growing up. And yeah, those are who stay with me. And yes, Aretha Franklin, but I always felt like I just, there was nothing to copy from Aretha because it was, for me, it was completely original and otherworldly, you know? And it feels even strange to try to sing her songs.
Have you ever written any songs?
I would say...
Or tried to?
I think I've tried to, but it's too personal. You know what I mean? I think when you sing and perform, you almost take for granted the music because you should have done your work and be beyond the music and telling the story of it. So for me to write the music too, that's like giving you everything. There's nothing left for me. So
do you play an instrument?
I played the flute for 12 years. I really wanted to learn the piano. And then when I got to college, I had this mean German teacher. Just when I was getting 2 fingers going and feeling like, oh, if I keep this up, I could get somewhere. And he just turned me off because I could practice till my fingers were purple. And the way college is set up, it's not about your personal aptitude. It's about passing this level. And so it just wasn't my level, and it had nothing to do with practice. And so I just felt like, oh, what a waste of my time and energy that, you know, to be judged that way. So he kind of turned me off to piano, and then I never found a hold in which to get back into it.
How did you break into the scene in Mallorca or in Palma? The jazz scene, I mean. Or...
I had no intention of going back to singing. And which is ridiculous because I can't stop. Even when I had moments in college where I thought, maybe this isn't for me, I realized that I can't deny it or pretend that this is not what I'm supposed to do. So I started just going to see music. And so the first thing anyone will tell you is go to the Hotel Saratoga, go to Agua Bar, and just see what's out there. And I came, I think the first year in 2014, I went to the Hotel Saratoga, and it was a jam session. And to me, it did not...
That's on a Monday night.
It's on a Monday night. It did not look like a jam session to me. It looked like these guys all knew each other, and I looked at them like, I don't know, maybe they've practiced with each other. And it's different to jam instrument to instrument than it is to, I think, flying as a singer. And I don't think this is a jam. For me, as a jam, you're creating something new. Here, I think it's more like an open mic with different people. I forgot that I used to be very sticky about the word jamming because for me, someone puts out a beat, you pick it up, you throw something that comes out of you on top of it, and that's a jam. So I stayed away. I would watch, I wouldn't sing.
But is this where you first sang in Palma?
It is where I first sang in Palma, because then I just said, well, get over yourself and go jam. So I eventually did when I came back from Madrid, and what happened was a friend of mine came to support, and she dumped a bucket of champagne ice on on someone who's now a friend. And he turned around, and we thought, oh man, he's gonna lay into us. And instead, he started talking to us, and he's a bassist around town. And turned out he was my neighbor. So we started jamming, and
then he introduced you to the other people.
Some other musicians, and you know, we've got a band going.
Right.
And it's pretty fun.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Well, we never got round to talking about New York.
No.
Would you like to do part 3? Or we'll end it up there.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ginelle, and good luck.
Thank you.